All about me? No, all about John Davis and the fucking DJ Stony. Made in first 1978, I think, in a very small studio in a very small town, Erlangen, Mörendorf, Torora Studios, Riverside Studios, featuring Mr. Tom Teal, Master Mixer. Oh, well, then I was his very private DJ when he played live on a disco, because he was very often in my disco in Fürth, near Nuremberg. And so he was sure I can play the right music for breaks, so that his whole music on this night would be okay. At a time when he was playing Jimi Hendrix and some kind of that stuff live. So then 1978, of course, he played in a band, was called Choke, with members from Nuremberg. Never had a big breakthrough, but then black music. Black music, Mr. Johnny Davis, okay? Bassman, rapper. And of course in Franconia everybody knows this guy, especially because he was the real Milli Vanilli. So he got a Grammy, the highest thing you can reach on your way to music heaven. But he had to give it back because the Americans noticed, I think at the very, very, very last on the whole world, because everyone in the world had known it, especially of course the DJs, that Frank Farian was singing for Bonnie M and for Milli Vanilli, and that this man from Fürth, this Mr. Johnny Davis, was rapping. Of course, on Girl You Know It's True, this very, very great hit, and some others, all others in the end. So, after giving back this Grammy, Farian started the real Milli Vanilli to show who is rapping, who's playing bass lines. I think there was another guy from Fürth, this one. I think for a short time he was living in Fürth too. Lost his name and didn't follow his career. So, another record. You will be astonished. JD, of course, for John Davis. Puma, Louis. Don't know nothing about this record. Perhaps this Puma means that he had sponsoring for a short time. Puma is near Fürth, where John Davis was living. A big producer of sportswear. You know, Adidas, Puma. These two big sportswear producers are still 15-20 kilometers from Fürth away, in Herzogenaurach. But I don't know if this is right, of course. Perhaps it's only a nickname, JD Puma Louis. Complete LP, you know, complete LP. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if he is also on all of this Metro vinyl, but he is. I'm also not quite sure if those things are recorded at Horst Hartmann Digital Unterdrubach, which is my cousin. Yeah, don't believe it, but it is. He's my cousin, and I know that John Davis recorded there because he was coming directly from Hartmann Digital in my disco, and this time in Forchheim, I think Upsilon or something else, don't remember, to bring me the newest, just right out of the studio, the newest hits from Mr. John Davis. And I'm sure I have heard that of one of this Metro vinyl, or of two of it, or I have another one, of course. He was rapping also. But it's very, very special. DJs loved it. But very explicit lyrics at a time, you know, in the late 70s or first years of the 80s, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. Very explicit lyrics. At this time in Germany, that was not so usual. You can't imagine. If somebody heard the word fuck, he would get crazy, this German Gartenzwerge. You know? He did the hardest in funk and rap ever, with some other persons. So, this is Milli Vanilli, All or Nothing, and of course, John Davis isn't seen there, but he was in the crew who played in studio and live with Milli Vanilli, the greatest rap disco act in the 80s, having some #1 songs in USA, being big in Germany and in whole Europe. You can't imagine if you haven't lived at this time. And he was the man behind. I think the most important man behind, plus Frank Farian, the producer, who did many vocals also on Bonnie M and Milli Vanilli. A former Schlagersänger who started to produce disco sound when disco sound was becoming bigger and bigger in the middle of the 70s. John Davis, Who Do You Love? This was after Milli Vanilli, the real Milli Vanilli, was finished, and this is really very close to the sound of Milli Vanilli. Who Do You Love? But solo. Vinyl, of course. Vinyl only. Vinyl, vinyl, vinyl. So, we have a very small single too. For those kids never having seen shit like this. Vinyl, of course, for a so-called Plattenspieler. And the funny thing here is, as you see, the very, very funny thing, the record company, you can read it, is Amiga. And what does that mean, Amiga? Amiga means this was the record company of the other part of Germany. You know, up to 1989, Germany was divided after the Second World War in two parts, the so-called Free World and the others under pressure of the Russians. And this is the original single from this other part of Germany, the so-called Deutsche Demokratische Republik, DDR, in the east. They also had this output. But you had to be very, very lucky to get this single. So, in the end, another all or nothing Milli Vanilli maxi single. Again in the back. The man we are talking about, John Davis. He's still making music in Nuremberg with a whole orchestra. Not so funky, not so rocking like I told you when he was playing live Jimi Hendrix. He did many things. He was very often also in studio for some other guys. Now he's doing a little bit adult contemporary, I would like to say. So, more soft rocking, soft pop, showing his great voice. Not only rapping, in the end, no more rapping, singing with an orchestra. I think 2, maybe 3 CDs are on the market with Johnny Davis in the years 2013, 14, 15, 16. So this is the old John Davis. Also maxi. Last not least, another maxi. So you can see it's #1 in USA. And it's not the only one. In the end, you must say John Davis is the most successful pop singer, rapper, bass player of Franconia. Because, think over, who was #1 in America, in the States? He was 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, I don't know. Nina was 1 time. Falco, 1 time. I'm not quite sure. 2 times perhaps. But he was the man. He is the man. And he is still doing great, great, great music. John Davis. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And of course, many of his great songs you can find at YouTube, searching for Milli Vanilli, searching for John Davis. Have much fun. This was your DJ Stony. See you again.